Welcome back. Today, we're looking at a story that is both emotional and very relatable from Born a Crime. It's about a teenage crush, the excitement of liking someone, and a big plan to impress them. But as often happens in stories, things don't go quite the way the narrator expects. Let's start by understanding the narrator's situation. In high school, he felt that the best way to avoid problems and unwanted attention was to stay unnoticed. Instead of trying to stand out, he kept to himself and tried to blend into the background. But how do you become someone who goes unnoticed? For the narrator, it started with the way he saw himself. Like many teenagers, he often felt awkward and unsure of himself, and those feelings affected how he acted around other people. For the narrator, the teenage years were especially difficult. He struggled with severe acne, wore hand-me-down clothes that didn't always fit well, and often felt uncomfortable with the way he looked. Because of this, he had very little confidence and saw himself as someone others would laugh at rather than admire. After being disappointed in the past, he developed a simple belief about high school. He thought that the most popular students were the ones who would have success in relationships, while students like him would only be seen as friends. Because of this, he stopped believing that anyone would be interested in him and gave up on the idea before he even gave himself a chance. But just when he thought he understood how things worked, something unexpected happened. His plan to stay unnoticed was suddenly tested when he developed a strong crush on a girl named Zahil. Keeping his feelings a secret wasn't easy, and it became one of the biggest challenges he had faced so far. He got to know Zahira through their mutual friend Johanna. Johanna was very outgoing and popular, while Zahira was known for being quiet and shy. As he spent more time around them, he and Zahira became friends. However, he admired her so much that he couldn't imagine she would ever like him back, so he believed she was far beyond his reach. At first, he accepted that his crush would stay a secret. He planned to admire Zahira from a distance and never tell her how he felt. But then he came up with an idea, a plan that seemed perfect in his mind and might finally give him a chance to get closer to her. His plan sounded like something from a movie. He decided to be patient and think long term. First, he would become one of Zahira's closest friends. Then, he hoped that over time she would realize how much he cared about her. In his imagination, by the time of the matric dance, a special school event similar to prom, she would finally see him in a new way and realize he was the right person for her. With his plan in place, he spent years following it. He stayed friends with Zahira and patiently waited, hoping that one day everything would work out the way he imagined. In his mind, he was waiting for the perfect moment when all of his effort would finally pay off. Over time, he became one of Zahira's closest friends. She trusted him, talked to him often, and he even got her home phone number, which was a big deal at the time. As he watched her date other people, he stayed patient because he believed everything was going according to his plan. For him, getting her phone number felt like a huge achievement. He was excited because it showed that Zahira trusted him and considered him a good friend. To him, it seemed like proof that his plan was working, and it made him even more confident that things would eventually turn out the way he hoped. At this point, he felt more confident than ever. He believed everything was going exactly according to plan, and he was excited about what might happen in the future. But when the mid-year school holidays ended and everyone returned to school, something unexpected happened that changed everything. When school started again, Zahira was nowhere to be found. One day passed, then another, and soon an entire week had gone by without her returning. Worried and confused, he finally went to Johanna and asked what had happened. The answer he was about to hear would change everything. What he was about to learn came as a huge shock. The news was so surprising and upsetting that it felt like several disappointments all at once. In just a few moments, the plan he had spent years believing in suddenly began to fall apart. The first piece of news was surprising. Johanna told him that Zahira no longer attended their school. At first, he wasn't too worried. He thought that even if she had changed schools, they could still stay in touch. After all, he had her phone number, so he believed everything would be okay. Then came the second piece of news, and it was much harder to hear. Johanna explained that Zahira hadn't just moved to a different school. Her family had moved to the United States because of her father's job. Suddenly, he realized that she wasn't just attending a different school, she was living in a completely different country, far away from everyone he knew. Then came the final piece of news, and it was the most surprising of all. Johanna told him that Zahira had liked him too. For all that time, she had been hoping he would tell her how he felt. In that moment, he realized that the opportunity he had been waiting for had been there all along, but he had never taken the chance to act on it. He was completely heartbroken. He kept thinking back to all the moments they had shared and wondering what might have happened if he had been brave enough to tell her how he felt. Over and over, he imagined saying a few simple words that could have changed everything, that he liked her and wanted to know if she felt the same way. After all of that disappointment, the story takes a different direction. His family moves to a new neighborhood, and he has to start over in an unfamiliar place. This brings a new challenge, feeling alone and disconnected from the people around him in a way he had never experienced before. His family moved to a neighborhood called Highland North, and it felt completely different from the place where he had grown up. In his old community, children often played outside and neighbors saw each other every day. But in Highland North, many homes were surrounded by tall walls and security fences, and people spent more time indoors. To him, the neighborhood felt quiet and isolated, making it much harder to meet new people and make friends. He felt very lonely and wanted badly to make new friends. He would ride his bike around the neighborhood, hoping to hear other kids playing outside. Whenever he heard voices or laughter, he became curious about the friendships and activities happening around him, wishing he could be part of them and connect with other children his age. It took time, but after about a year, he finally began to find friends. He met other children who, like him, sometimes felt left out or disconnected from the larger community. As they spent time together, they formed friendships and created their own group. Through those shared experiences, he started to feel accepted and found a sense of belonging once again. This story leaves us with an important question to think about. How many opportunities have we missed because we were too nervous or afraid to take a chance? The narrator's experience reminds us that sometimes the biggest regrets come from the things we never say or do. It encourages us to be brave, speak up, and take opportunities when they come our way. Thank you for joining us today, and we'll see you in the next episode.
If you'd like more personalized feedback, writing support, and discussion sessions, they're available with me or with our selected tutors. All the details are here.